Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm looking forward to guiding you through today's core stretch class. We're going to bring a little yoga to the party because this is one of those weeks where I think we just need some like gentle movement and to have some fun. So let's practice, get a little silly, maybe be a little off balance. I'm going to recommend, since we are going to be getting that same forward hinge and big leg lift and this awesome move that we did last week, that if the floor feels really far away, that you bring a block or two. If you don't have a block or two, maybe you have some dumbbells that you can just press the head of the dumbbell on the floor to help you feel supported in this giant hinge. Otherwise, keep a chair nearby and you can always place your hands on the chair. Great. Grab yourself some water. Turn on some extra lights. It has gotten real dark in here. We're about to do this. We're about to do this. Oh my gosh. Fred has been so uncool lately, everyone. I don't know if your children or no, your picky pets have seemed a little extra lately. Oh, but they sure, I can't take it. Oh, thank God that we can just get together and breathe and move and be. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Bringing your heels, toes close to each other. If you're standing on your mat, you can stand at the top of your mat. I'm going to face forward because I'm a polite lady and I'm going to make some eye contact with you. If you can, bring your heels side by side. Then I like to even close my legs like a book, press through your heels, and make sure that you don't have an overarch of your back. So glutes aren't stretching towards the back wall. Take that tuck of your pelvis under, round through your feet, grow through your chest, stretch your fingers down towards the floor. Find a nice neutral spine, and your chin is not lifting up or tucked down. That's neutral to the floor as well. Awesome. Let's just take 3 breaths right here. Reevaluating ourselves after these 3 breaths, check in and notice, did you bring any sort of overarching back to your back? Are you still really grounding through your feet? Are your hips pressed forward? Is your chest open? Do you have the weight forward in your toes? Or are you stacking shoulders on top of hips on top of heels? Bring a little bit more weight into your heels, stretch your fingers down towards the floor, and this time let's close our eyes as we take our 3 breaths. A lot of times, having your eyes closed can make balance a little bit more challenging. So now that we're simply standing here, or maybe it's not so simple, depending on how your body's feeling today, but we don't have any movement going besides our breath. So closing your eyes can already start to bring balance into play. Just notice how you're feeling. Did the weight shift in your feet at all? Let's take one more big breath. And then feel free to flutter your eyes open. We're going to inhale, bring our arms all the way up overhead. Keep stretching your hands up overhead, palms facing forward. I want you to open your hands really wide and then make a fist. Open your hands really wide, make a fist. Now we're just going to kind of make some like sparkle hands. So while they're still up there, I want you to just as fast as you can open and close your hands for just about the next 20 seconds. Try not to let that overarch. Come into your back as fast as you can, open and closing your hands for 3, 2, 1. Stretch those fingers up towards the ceiling. Find length from your waist. Pull your belly in. On your exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips. You can rain your fingers down or swan dive down towards the floor. Inhale into a nice big half lift. Find a flat back. Maybe fingers still touch the floor, or they come to your shins, or they come to your thighs as you create length through the crown of your head. And then exhale, release your head back down towards the floor. Take a moment while you're here in the first set to really start to bring a nice stretch into your hamstrings. Maybe you even feel it big in your hips. With your feet flat on the floor, bend one knee and then the other. Taking a couple seconds in this warm up. Just notice how you're feeling. And then if it feels good, if you want a little extra, maybe you crouch all the way down with your knees bent. Maybe you're pressing up a little bit more onto the balls of your feet. Take another couple breaths, couple seconds. Ooh. So find the stretch that feels good for you. And then as you're ready, bring the soles of the feet back down towards the floor. Inhale into a big half lift. Exhale down to your forward fold. And slowly, gently roll yourself all the way back up. Bring your arms up overhead. Hands, palms come together this time. And then exhale, hands come down to the heart center in Namaskar. Stretch your elbows down towards the floor. Squeeze your glutes. Hips come forward. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up. Pull your belly in, hinge forward, rain or swan dive down towards the floor. Inhale up into your half lift. Exhale down to your forward fold. Great. We're going to step our right leg back behind us, come into a nice big lunge, crescent lunge. So the ball of the right foot is on the floor, heel is lifted. Inhale, lift yourself up, lift those arms up overhead. Notice if your hips turned out towards the right side. So bring that right hip in, maybe taking a little bit more generous of a bend through the right knee. Left leg is still bent, lots of weight in your left heel. Take a big inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, rain those fingers back down towards the floor. Inhale as you step your right foot forward, come into your half lift. Exhale, slowly, gently roll yourself down. Inhale, rise all the way back up. Arms come up overhead. Keeping this flow so nice and gentle, hands come down to heart center. Take a moment. Let's try to harbor a little bit more gratitude. So before we begin this next round, think about something that you're grateful for. What is a positive force in your life right now that focusing on it brings a smile to your face? I tell you what, it's not you, Fred. It's not you. You're being really rude. All right, so inhale those lungs up. Pull your belly in. Exhale, rain or swan dive down to the floor. Inhale up into your half lift. Exhale down to your forward fold. Go ahead, step your left foot back this time, starting to bring that generous bend to your right knee. Ball of the left foot comes to the floor. Inhale, arms up. Take a moment to really squeeze that inner left thigh in. Make sure you have it rotated out towards the left side of the room. Maybe a little extra bend in the left knee, still a generous bend in the right leg. Stretch up from your waist. Exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Inhale, step your left foot to meet with your right, lift into your half lift. Exhale, down to your forward fold. Inhale, slowly, gently roll yourself all the way up. Bring your arms up overhead, palms together. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Awesome. All right, let's add some strength stuff into that. We've got a couple different moves. We're going to do each of them for just about 40 seconds. I'm not even going to set a timer. We're just going to make it happen. Okay? Okay. All right. So starting right where we began, we're going to want to come into our lunge. So inhale your arms up overhead, pull your belly in, exhale, swan dive or bring your fingers forward. Inhale into your half lift, exhale down to your forward fold. I'm going to step forward a little bit just so I have some space behind me. We're going to bring the right leg back behind us, and we are once again in our awesome lunge. I'm going to lift yourself up. Great. You can have your hands wherever you want for this next little series. Maybe they're by your hips to really help focus on keeping those hips squares forward. Maybe they're by your chest. Here's what's happening. We're going to squeeze this right leg glute to lift the foot up off the floor. And then as quietly as possible, release your right leg back down to the floor. That's the whole move. You ready? In 3, 2, 1. So weights in your left heel. You're going to squeeze, gentle lift to the right glute. Exhale, maybe even really enhance that lunge. So you're going to feel that left side quad working big time. You're also using that right side glute to lift your leg up. We're halfway through already. Oop, oop, got a little off balance. That's what we're promoting here. I want you to wobble maybe a little bit to challenge your range of motion so that you have to use your core or maybe your hand on something to help. Ooh, awesome. Go ahead, step your 2 feet together. Take a moment, shake those glutes out. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, belly pulled in, rain or swan dive forward. Inhale up into your half lift. Exhale down into your forward fold. Let's take 3 breaths here, relaxing shoulders away from ears. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So go ahead, step your left leg back, coming into that lunge, generous bending your right leg. Inhale, lift your hips up. Maybe hands at your waist to help encourage those 2 hips in one line. We start in 3, 2, here we go. So weight in the front right heel, little lift and squeeze of the glute as quietly as possible, bringing that back foot back down to the floor. So I'm really trying to use this glute squeeze to find a little bit of a lift and a little bit of a engagement of the front leg to stay balanced. Feel that quad working more than halfway through. Don't let the weight come too far forward. Your knee should be just about over the arch of your foot or your heel. Awesome. Step those 2 feet together. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, rain or swan dive down to the floor. Inhale into your half lift. Exhale down to your forward fold. Just like we started, keep the soles of both feet on the floor. Bend one knee or then the other. How are things feeling right now in that little glute hamstring insertion? I know mine got a little bit tired. Awesome. Let's bring a little bit more balance into play. So we're going to step the right leg back, starting in our lunge. Let's just inhale, lift ourselves up. And then exhale, rain swan dive forward, shift the weight forward. So now we're balancing on the left leg. Inhale your right leg as high as possible. Remember, you have that option to use your blocks right here. I'm going to get the timer to keep us honest. Let's go ahead, bend the left knee, bring the right knee behind it, and then send the left leg back up towards the ceiling. Can you keep your chest square to the mat in front of you? So try not to rotate out towards the side. Try to resist that hip rotating too much out towards the side. We're already almost halfway through this little bend and straighten, this little dynamic half splits. Last 10 seconds. Then we'll bring that big stretch to the back of the legs again. 3, 2, release your right leg back down with your left. Inhale into a half lift. Exhale into your forward fold. Bend one knee and then the other. Get that movement through your hips. Really shift them a little bit side to side. Whew. Find your stillness and then slowly roll yourself all the way up. Arms come up overhead. Hands, palms come down to heart center. 2 breaths. Realign yourself right here. Make sure those glutes aren't sticking out behind you. On your next inhale, arms come up overhead. Rain or swan dive forward with your belly pulled in on your exhale. Inhale up into your half lift. Exhale down to your forward fold. Go ahead, step your left leg back this time. Inhale your right arm up towards the ceiling, little crescent warrior. Pull that left hip in. Exhale. Swan dive your fingers back down to the floor. Shift your weight forward, taking a moment in warrior three, and then sending left leg up towards the ceiling. Keep your chest square towards the mat. Let's get these 40 seconds of work. So a slight bend in the right leg as you bring the left knee to the back of the right leg, maybe even towards the outside, towards the right side of the right leg. Take your time here, just finding the range of motion that works for you. Eye gaze is just locked in one place to help with your balance. 10 seconds left. Last two. One, release your left leg down to meet next to your right. Inhale into your half lift. Find a flat back, create a little extra length. Exhale down to your forward fold. We're going to stay right down here. Bring your hands down to the floor. Step your feet back. We're going to come into down dog. So take a moment in this down dog, pedal your heels, bring your lower belly towards your thighs. Ooh, you can look forward and look up towards your waist. Shaking your head yes or no. The next move that we have is going to be down dog into dolphin. So right here from down dog, you can do both arms at the same time, or maybe one arm and then the other to release forearms down towards the ground, and then press yourself back up. Let's do it. Careful. I know that my mat is a little sweaty. I'm going to keep going with the same arm leading this first time through. Now, if you are like, Jessica, I cannot do that, then go ahead, come on down to your knees. Maybe even from your knees, you work on just this renegade push-up. Is that what it's called? Elevator push-up? Maybe you do it from a full plank, or you keep challenging yourself right here from this dolphin because we've got 10 seconds left. Maybe you take an extra moment in your dolphin or in your down dog. One more big inhale. Exhale, let's release knees down towards the floor. Send glutes back towards your heels. Take a couple breaths in child's pose. We're going to do it one more time. Do you remember which arm you were leading with? We are doing these today because I think they're hard. Yep, that's right. I am bringing you some exercises that I find personally challenging, and we are improving our strength and changing together. So I want you to know that I don't just bring you the things that I can rock out, because everyone has some challenging days when they are exercising. If you don't, you're not going to see any sort of change because you got to have challenge to see change, right? All right, we're going to do the same thing one more time. Remember, if you don't want to be in down dog, coming down to forearms on the ground in dolphin, you can just be in a plank, bringing your forearms down and then pressing yourself back up. 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. Send those hips up, forearms up. Oh, I'm supposed to lead with the other side this time. Ooh. We got it, everyone. We're already at that halfway point, if you can believe it. I know this one can be a lot in the shoulders. That's why we work so much of those legs first. Less than 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. Lower yourself all the way down to the floor. I'm just going to check on things online because I thought I was keeping things lower body related. And my next move says push up. Oh, I'm correct. All right. Well, the great news is we're going to get a little bit more work in these shoulders because I thought a regular push-up sounded boring, didn't you? Great. So we're going to do a push-up into a plank rotation, and I'm going to keep us honest on the time here and actually set the timer for this one. You can do your push up on your knees, on your toes. You can do your plank on your knees or on your toes too. So the easiest version is going to be right here in tabletop, lowering yourself down, giving yourself that push up, and then just opening up towards the side. The more that you step your knees back behind you, the more challenging it's going to be. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to switch each side that we rotate to every time you push up in 3, 2, 1, begin. I'm going to do these push-ups on my knees. I'm going to go really nice and slow all the way down. And then press back up and find that rotation. Really try and stack one arm on top of the other and then as slow as possible on the way back down. Pressing back up, rotate the other side. And you can even do your push-ups on your knees. And then as you come into this plank, you can roll up onto your feet and find a straight leg plank. Take a break. But I want you to make sure that you feel supported in the movement. So do what feels right for you. All right, we got one more time through before we get to lay on our backs and come back towards the lower half of the body and core in 3, 2, 1. I'm switching towards these push-ups on the knees so I can really make sure I feel that chest and back working, and then stepping legs back, challenging myself to a straight leg plank. Way to go. More than halfway there. Do you feel any shaking or trembling in your upper body during your push-ups or during these plank rotations? Oh, the timer beeped, but I'm going to get it in. Awesome. And now we're going to flip over onto our backs. Make sure you have some space to your side. I'll flip over in this direction because there's a little bit more space by my feet. All right. You got 2 different options for this next move. We're going for either knee drops or you can challenge yourself to some straight legs. Okay. Arms are going to come out wide to the side. You can press your hands into the floor, either with knees stacked on top of hips. You're just going to drop your knees over towards the side, carefully rolling over, and then come right back through center and then towards the other side. Or if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can have your legs straight, and then you might even think about bringing your feet down a little bit towards the diagonal and right back up. Let's stick with 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, 2 times through, and then we're back to stretching in 3, 2, 1. Begin. If you don't need to, if you want to challenge yourself even more, instead of having your hands out towards the side, maybe your hands or your knuckles are just resting by your head while you also lift your shoulders up off of the floor to get a little bit more of the upper abs working here as well. But make sure that you are really controlling as much as possible on the way down and on the way up. You're not just letting your knees drop side to side. Oh, take a break. Maybe knees towards the chest. Maybe just a little legs up the imaginary wall. One more time through. And remember, if you need to, you can keep your knees bent and do the same thing with just those bent knees, rotating side to side. Let's begin. Start with those bent knees. Maybe you even decide to just straighten one leg, in which case I would straighten whichever the inner leg is. But hey, you want to try straightening the outer leg? I'm not there to stop you. I want you to have some fun. Take a little bit of autonomy with this workout. Oh, sorry, plant. Remember, you have that option to lift your shoulders up off of the mat. even if you just give yourself a nice little crunch at the center. We did it. Release your head back down. Go ahead, draw your knees in towards your chest, stretch your elbows down towards your hips. With the back of your head on the mat, tuck your chin to your chest as much as possible. Give yourself that double, triple chin here to get as much length in your spine and vertebrae as possible. And on your next exhale, release your soles of the feet down to the floor. If knees are still pointing up towards the ceiling, stretch your arms out to the side. If they weren't already there, let's roll on over. Take a delightful spine twist right here. You can keep things passive and look in the same direction as your knees, or you can make things a little bit more active, looking over your opposite shoulder. 2 more breaths right here. And then bring your knees back to center. You can keep them bent. Press into your feet as you roll towards the opposite side. Other side, spine twist. Remember, both sides of the body are not the same. So maybe you want to look in the same direction of your knees on this side. Maybe you want to get that extra little stretch in your neck and look in the opposite direction. We've got just a couple of minutes of movement left. I hope that you had fun today. I really thought it was a great idea to bring those separate leg splits squats of sort into play again so you could challenge your muscle memory, especially if you came to class last week. All right, whatever direction your knees are pointing in, we're going to bring both arms to that side. Take a moment here in your recovery position. Just breathe and be. And then let's roll on over, come into tabletop. Hands, palms right underneath of chest, shoulder. Spread your fingers really wide. Hips on top of your knees. Give yourself 3 cat cows. Finding as much articulation and rounding of the spine as possible. Really pressing those finger pads into the floor, keeping your fingers spread as much as you can. Once you finish your 3rd cat cow, you can open your knees wider if you want. You can keep them right where they are. Take a moment in neutral tabletop. And then sink your glutes back towards your heels for a nice child's pose. You can walk your hands further forward and release your head down to the floor. Maybe even tempting your fingers for that extra stretch through your upper back shoulders. Or you can take as generous of a bend in your elbows or as much relaxation here as you want. So last 2 breaths. Stay close to the ground. How close can you stay? Imagine yourself like a snake. We're going to slink forward. Maybe your nose is grazing the floor, walking those legs back, or maybe you have the space to pull yourself all the way forward. Hands, palms now come close to your chest. Push up into a little mini baby cobra. Elbows stretch down towards your hips. Look over your left shoulder. One more inhale. Exhale. Head comes forward. Release yourself down towards the mat. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Squeeze your glutes. Lift up once more into your mini baby cobra. Elbows stretch towards hips. Look over your right shoulder. One more inhale. Exhale, turn back to center. Relax your head down to the floor. Make yourself a pillow with your hands. Bend your knees, windshield wipe your feet in opposite directions. Really relieve any tension that might have built up or is just harboring in your low back. We're going to get one more plank in, everybody. One more straight arm, total body plank. So extend your legs out again. Bring your hands, palms under your chest. Tuck your toes under. Keep your heels stacked on top of the balls of your feet as you press yourself up into your plank. Eye gaze gently forward. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Draw your belly in. We're going to be here for just 10 more seconds. You can do it. And then go ahead, send your hips up towards the ceiling. Start to walk your feet towards your hands or your hands towards your feet, whatever feels best for you.
Shift the weight into your heels. Generously bend your knees. Make a table with your thighs. Place your belly on it. And as your belly is on the table, find a little space, a little spreading out of your upper back and your ribs. Take a moment here to shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Let's slowly, gently shift weight back to your heels and roll up one vertebrae at a time. We got good at that today, didn't we? Inhale your arms up overhead. Once they come up overhead, grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Squeeze glutes, hips forward. Let's reach all the way over to the left side. Inhale back up through center. Grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Shoulders away from your heels. Shoulders away from your ears. Press into your heels. Squeeze glutes, hips forward. Lift from your waist. And exhale, reach all the way over to the right. Oh, birds. Inhale back up through center. Release your hands, palms face towards each other. Relax shoulders down. Look up, squeeze glutes, hips forward. Maybe even bring your arms back a little bit. Nice little standing back bend. Inhale back up through center. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side and then interlace them behind your back. Get a little stretch for the chest from our push-ups and our rotations. So once your hands, palms come together, stretch your knuckles down to the floor. Keep the weight in your heels. One more big inhale. And on your exhale, release. Take a moment, just shake it out. Maybe give me your best, worst dance move. Awesome. And then give yourself a round of applause because you did it. I hope that you had fun trying something a little bit different, just making it easy, going with the flow so we can feel good about ourselves. I'm sorry if you have to sit back at your desk and do some work. I know I do, but thank you for joining me today so we can feel better tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.